Is your career on track or are you going nowhere? Do you know what's next for you and will you make the right move? Make better career decisions using Carol, our AI-powered career coach, and enjoy a richer life and happier career. Click on the link now for your free career report and start living the life you deserve.
Good morning, Singapore. Good morning, everyone on LinkedIn Live, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Good morning. Welcome to the always Friday morning on episode of Career Success with Adrian and Yen. If you've not tuned in before, my name is Adrian, and I'm the CEO, founder of Career Agility International. And together with me is Yen, our super coach, executive director, and co-founder. Yen, good morning.
Happy Friday, Adrian. How are you doing?
You can tell I've had too much coffee this morning. Double dose.
Really?
Espresso. Yeah, correct.
You haven't warmed up.
Yeah, I know. I've not done my Mongolian yodeling thing yet, so it's like haven't fully warmed up. But
yes,
it's been a crazy week. We've been really busy, and we've had lots of one-on-one coaching sessions with a lot of our clients. And one of the things that we've had a lot of requests from people who've been asking us about switching jobs. And in today's hot job market, it's such a hot topic, isn't it?
It is. And I think a lot of our clients are getting more than one offer. And it's a happy problem, but a problem nonetheless. Can you imagine if they have like three or a good pipeline of opportunities, and then two companies are interested in potentially employing? And so they're thinking, gosh, where do I go and which one? And, I think a lot of them wish they had a fortune teller or some kind of crystal ball that can predict which would be the better option. It's quite funny.
It is. And what's really interesting we're seeing as well is many of our clients, after a period of lull and quiet, right now they're getting up to 2 or 3 offers at a go because the market is just so buoyant. And not only market being buoyant, they have been able to figure out their positioning, their pitch, and their interviews are so on point that people want them. So if you're in a situation where where you're faced with a difficult position or having to select and choose between 2 or 3 offers, I feel so sorry for you.
The worst part is that the one that is the offer that came first is your perhaps not ideal choice. And then you're trying to wait for the other one, and it's kind of taking its own sweet time. And then there's a third one that's a distant, not too far, but not fast enough for you to compare. And you're wondering, should I wait? If I let go the first offer, what if the second and the third one don't happen? Or if I accept the first offer, and what if number 2 and number 3 come along? What do I do? Because it'd be bad for me to not start with number 1. It's a very common problem. And good luck to you. It's still a problem.
We just had a client 2 weeks back who got an offer from exactly the same situation you said. From the first offer that came in was from the number 2 company. Okay. And the company he wanted to work for, we are still talking to other people kind of situation. And well, he signed the offer letter with that first company, which was his number 2 choice. And you're supposed to start work in like about 2 months' time. And then, close after he signed, he tendered his resignation. And lo and behold, last week he was offered the job by number 1 company.
He should have. Okay, so the question here is an ethical conundrum. If you've signed an offer letter, right? Should you abort all your other opportunities? You should, right? For the sense of integrity and ethics,
if you
signed on an offer letter, you should abort all and stop progressing the other opportunities. The fact that you're willing to progress other opportunities is akin to, oh, here, would you, you propose marriage to your fiance and then you continue to date the other
Date other
girlfriend. Just
girls,
think
right? Yeah.
it's a bit wrong, now,
Oh,
right?
naughty. But that's where it gets interesting, because you then have a situation where you want to reject the offer, or some people even don't turn up for day one of work, and I've seen that happen before. Okay,
Yeah,
where they don't turn
yeah.
up for work on
They
day one.
ghost.
That's really bad
Yeah,
for your reputation.
very
But when you
bad.
get
Don't do that.
and when you get a situation like that, it's like, what do you do, right? So that is what I actually call job hopping even before you start the work. It's
For my money, and for our listeners, if you are young-ish, meaning that you still see your a 30-year future, 20-year future ahead of you, please don't do this. If you are a little bit more seasoned and this is going to be your last hurrah, then do whatever you want.
it's
Your journey is almost at the end of the line, so it's
yeah.
okay. I mean, okay, wait, hang
It's
on.
not okay, not
Don't shoot
okay.
me. It's
But
not okay, but
but
it's people don't judge you if you were to select your first choice by
I'll still
turning
judge.
down and then
I still judge.
declining the
I'm
second
sorry.
choice.
Call me old-fashioned. Okay, I still judge. I think it's gonna be a matter of integrity. But if you want to do it, no, it's up to you. And I'm sure you have very strong, compelling reasons for doing that. There's always
Yes,
this thing
yes, you
about
have to have, yeah, you have to have the strong compelling reason. You're right, Adrian.
yeah,
But also
and
come to me because I'll help you with the decline portion of it. So if you've accepted an offer, okay, and a better one comes along, what do you do? And of course, contextualize it. There are ways that you can decline
yeah.
starting. Like you can always turn around and say, "Thank you very much, but never mind. I'm not starting with you. I've got
Yeah,
something else."
you can feign coma. Say sorry, I'm in a coma right now. I can't come back to you until like 2 years time. I have no idea how to come out of it squeaky clean, and you probably won't. But
You won't.
just
You
be
won't.
mindful.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be mindful.
Yeah.
You will not come out smelling like roses. Let's put it this way.
And it's a very
So
good, I guess, connection to what we're going to talk about today, because this very bad behavior of signing on the dotted line and not starting is just as bad as, again, it's a perception and your reputation in the market. It's just as bad as job hopping. So today we're going to try and figure out and define what job hopping really means and what are some of the ramifications.
yeah, in fact, what is really interesting is we did a topic on this like sometime in August last year, and it was a really very highly watched episode. And this year, because the context has changed, in that a lot of people are leaving their jobs right now, so we wanted to revisit this again. That's why it's called "Excuse Me, I a Job Hopper" Part Two, the 2022 version. So if you have any questions about job hopping, or if you think you're a job hopper, or someone has ever mentioned to you that you're a job hopper, please tune in. Please ask the questions, drop questions into the comment section, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on LinkedIn Live. Just drop the question and we'll be happy to answer it for you. Now, on to the headlines of the week. And this segues very nicely into exactly what we are going to talk about today. The Great Reshuffle. Are Singaporean employers' attitude towards job hoppers changing? Are they? Yeah, what do you think?
I have met many employers who have many opinions, and then there are some obviously who have had bad experiences, and so just like anyone else, right? Through our own life experience, it helps to frame the way our opinion of the world it changes. So I've met employers who think that if you've changed the job every 2 to 5 years, you are a job hopper. And so in a 20-year career, if you had 6, 7 jobs, you're a job hopper. But in general, I personally don't think so. But then there are those who love job hoppers because it shows that you are very agile and very versatile. You learn quickly. So I think everyone has their own opinion. So I cannot speak for the market.
And there are job hoppers and there are job hoppers. There are some people who switch jobs, okay, for better moves. Okay, we're going to talk about this later. And then there are those job hoppers who treat job hopping like an extreme sport, okay, where they go really, really all the way every
Or
3
they
months,
change
6 months.
outfits. It's like they change outfits every day.
Yeah, it's not outfit of the day. Oh, today is JOTD, job of
Job,
the day.
job
I
of
have
the
no
day.
idea. I have no idea what they're doing, and we've seen such cases before. Okay, and if you're like that, let's have a grown up discussion about it on how we can address it, how you can address it, how you can fix it. And to be honest, sometimes, especially in today's market where the certain particular talents and skills are in short supply, employers do not mind closing one eye if you have the right skills and if you have had quite a jumpy career. They don't mind bringing you on board. But I can tell you that they don't have very high hopes of you staying. They're going to treat you
Yeah.
very much like a temp worker because they're not so sure whether or not you're going to stick around. If you had like 5 jobs in the past 2 years, no, they just want you there, but I have no idea how long they're going to stick. You're going to stick. So I'm going to have a backup plan. I may not open the keys to the kingdom to you, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
until you prove
definitely have to
yourself.
manage. Yeah,
But so there are so many things that you've brought up. If you changed 5 jobs in 2 years and have recently just graduated, it's actually not a bad thing because those 5 jobs perhaps were experimental. And so if you are
perhaps. Yeah.
28,
Yes.
27, and you're thinking, okay, well, I haven't, COVID and I need a job, so I'll take
Yeah.
anything. So as if there is a valid reason for
Mhm.
some of those moves, and more importantly, and this is really important, if those moves have the same theme, meaning that
Mm.
you remain within a specific domain, i.e., if you are a business analyst and you're thinking, with a strong data flavor, and you've always worked in data analysis of a specific domain, and then you've had a few short-term jobs, so the employer would love to have you on board, and then it becomes their challenge to give you more challenges, more growth opportunities, sexier projects, and retention tools that will help make you stay because it takes 2 hands to clap. So that's okay. So
That's
I'm
true.
thinking 2 jobs in 5 years in the same
It
theme,
it
the
it,
same
de-
domain.
it depends
Okay.
on a lot, and exactly your point. Yeah, it's very contextualized. Okay, how long
Yes.
is a piece of string? It's like, so we need to have context to it, and that's why today we're going to talk about job hopping.
Yeah.
How does it hurt you? What is it all about? Are you a job hopper? So let's talk about what is a job hopper. If you
That
look at the
lady
slide
is
now,
not, she's not hopping, she's leaping.
she's a job leaper. she's, she's she looks very happy leaping, getting off her current job. But it's what is a job hopper, and it's very relative as well. If you look at different industries, the banks, a lot of times they tend to have people working in the banks tend to have a bit longer tenures than those in technology. So for someone who's in the bank, give you an interesting example as well. My older brother, as you know, he's a doctor. And used to look at my career and he goes, "Wow, no, Adrian, you're a job hopper and you change your job once every like 5, 6 years." And
Mm,
I'm going like, that's not job hopping.
that's not job hopping.
That's not job hopping. But to him it is. So that's why
That's
sometimes,
career
if you are from
progression.
if you exactly right. So if you are in a position right now, and if say you're in the tech industry and you want to move to the banking industry, sometimes the banking HR person might look at you and go, "Oh, job hopper." So you can't control
Maybe.
that. So the definition, right? It's just there. It's changed over time. And job hopping used to be seen as a bad thing in the old days, but today
Yes, because in the
it's
old days, loyalty was very important,
yeah, like my dad, he worked in the bank for like 26, 28
right?
years. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
today, if you want to work 28 years in the same company, in the same role,
Something's wrong with you.
yeah, something's wrong. It's
Something.
something's wrong with your career. That's what the perception is going to be. Something's wrong with your career. Something's wrong with what's wrong with you. Why weren't you headhunted? Why weren't you promoted? Right? So a lot of questions. So the
Mm.
definition of job hopping has changed tremendously.
I think it's gotten more acceptable to have shorter tenures, and even then, it cannot be too short. So,
Hmm.
prevailing wisdom, right? Again, this is a generic definition, but prevailing wisdom is this: when you first come on board, and this is you're just starting a new job, it typically takes you a minimum of a year to really truly learn the ins and outs, to be very, very sure about what is going on. It takes about a
Yeah.
year. And I know some of our listeners are going to disagree. And by the second year, you are only by the second year, when you've seen an entire fiscal year cycle, can you be effectively productive. And only then by your third year can you initiate and hopefully start making your own initiatives and start making waves.
That's true, right?
So it's usually about business cycles, isn't it? And so even though perhaps the environment that you're in, the cycles are a lot faster, so then you still need to see at least 2 to 3 cycles before you can effectively say, okay, it's time for me to move on because I need to grow. So that would be the definition. But in the old days, the days of your, yes, you have to stay 8 years, 10 years, 12 years. And within those 8, 10, 12 years, you have to have at least some sort of progression, some sort of promotion.
And it's interesting too, Yen, because one of my headhunting mentors when I was a really young headhunter when I was year high, just starting out, and I was covering the telco sectors, and he used to tell me, look, if you see a salesperson who's a salesperson in the telco sector, negotiating those big deals, if they've been at a job for about 9 months or maybe a year-ish,
That's
and
not his deal.
if they want to take credit for this deal that I closed, wow, how many $1 million? Yeah, you're right. It's not his deal.
It's not his deal.
These things take very long sales cycles. So,
correct.
And if you keep going 9 months here, 9 months there, that you've never seen a sales cycle like what you mentioned through from inception, from conception to delivery, baby to out, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a business cycle.
Work.
Absolutely.
So it's all about business cycle. So it does hurt your marketability sometimes if you meet the right headhunter or recruiter or hiring manager who knows his stuff.
Yeah, and you and I know this, right? We've headhunted a long time, and I've seen profiles. And when someone says, "Oh, did a close don't know what ABC deal within 6 months of joining," I'm like, right,
Not gonna happen.
Someone cooked it for you,
Yeah.
and then you perhaps contributed to closing it, but you cannot claim to have seen an entire cycle.
So the definitions have changed. In fact, the big question now is then, who is a job hopper? Okay, who is a job hopper? So I'm going to ask you a few questions. I'm going to give you some
You're going to give me some
scenarios.
scenarios,
Yeah, and in fact, if you're watching and tuning in right now, I've got my scenario list here on my little post-it pad, and let's ask. Okay, so a person, job hopper or not? A person who's changed 5 jobs in 3 years.
5 jobs in 3 years? How
35
old?
35 years old. Let's keep it 35 years old.
35 years old, so from 30 to 35, he had 5 jobs.
Yeah, five jobs in 3 years.
Oh, wow, yeah. Something's wrong with this individual. I mean, again, at a quick diagnosis, if there are no other candidates, I would probably meet this candidate and ask what happened. But if I have other candidates, I would probably not consider this candidate.
And please note now to our viewers right now that we are not being judgmental on you as a person. We are telling you what the headhunter will think when he or she sees your profile. Okay, you are not, the problem is not with you don't have a problem personally, but you have a career narrative issue which needs to be fixed. And these are the things that when a headhunter looks at your profile, headhunters are very judgmental people. Okay, and you headhunters out there, what I say this because I used to be one, Yen used to be one. Okay, we are very judgmental. We look at a profile and we start making stories in our head. Someone who's got 5 jobs in 3 years probably has challenges. Okay, landing a job because the perception is there. How about this? 3 jobs in 5 years.
How old? 35. Okay, so
35
in
also.
5 years, he had 3 jobs.
And he's currently in the current job.
Again, it depends on what those 3 jobs are, and it depends on the company that he used to or he or she used to work for, and if I have no other candidates.
Okay.
Wait, Adrian, I'm going to add another element. It also depends on what this individual did in the 10 years before. So at 35 years old, changed 3 jobs in 5 years. So from the age of 30 to 35, he's had 3 jobs. What happened between the ages of 22 to 29? If that was a 1 job from 22 to 29, and then he had 3 short jobs, it's okay. But if between 22 and 29, he had another 8 jobs, I'm not touching.
That's why it's all about context, isn't it? How about someone who's a contract worker or a gig worker who's doing 3 projects?
That's fine.
9-month projects, another 9-month project with another company. So if you've done 6 jobs in the past 5 years because you've been freelancing, that's not too bad too. So So it's all about
That's
context.
a narrative. You're right.
Now, Yen, I'm going to throw a very tricky question to you because this really, really
Okay.
happened. Okay.
Yes.
A person who got retrenched 3 times in a row, 1.5
Mm.
in a career of 15 years in a job, okay, got retrenched, joined another company a year and a half later, got retrenched, joined a third
Mm.
company 6 months later, got retrenched.
Mm.
Your point of view, flight risk? Should I
No, it's
hire
not a
this
flight
person?
risk.
What's happening? Is this person a
But
job hopper?
no, but this person's not a job hopper, and I would do a bit more research into the organizations that he or she has joined, and whether or not those retrenchments were bona fide or performance related, or something else.
Yeah.
Because there are bona fide changes, and sometimes you're just that unlucky. You know, you move from a hot seat to the next hot seat to the next hot seat, and an even hotter one because you barely
Yeah.
stayed 6 months. That's really unfortunate, and so it's important to take a step back and figure out what's going on so that there's some sustainability moving forward. So if this person is, what did you say, 15 years in one job and
One
then
job.
three
Yeah.
subsequent retrenchments, right?
Yeah.
He's not a flight risk.
And the
He's not a flight
retrenchments due
risk.
to the company shutting down and everything. So
Yeah,
true story.
yeah,
I'm sharing this to you because it's
yeah.
a true story. So
Yes.
I once presented someone like this to a client of mine. And my client looked at the profile and said, I like this profile, but I don't want to hire this person because he looks like he's bad luck. My company might shut down if he joins. Everywhere he joins. I said, that's not a nice thing to say, Mr. HR, But that's the perception. Unfortunately, we find it hard to control people's perception. But if you ask me and if you ask Yen, we are both on the same idea, on the same point of view, that it's probably unfortunate. It is unfortunate. It's probably a selection process that's gone wrong. I mean, you could be in an industry that's really on that's waning already.
On
It's
the
on the
wane,
sunset.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Mm,
down already, going down.
yeah.
Like how many pager repair shops or fax machine repair. You cannot. So you have, or maybe you're in a skill set area that's not in demand anymore. So if you are
Yes.
facing that kind of situation, you need to revamp because otherwise the next one you're going to go to, you're going to join another industry that's it's just another company on its last
Mm,
legs, in its final vestiges.
mm.
You have to be mindful that then what you need is a career strategy. Come talk to us
You
because
know,
we are very good at helping
it's almost,
individuals out with their career strategy.
you're right. And so the analogy, if I can just say what the scenario looks like, it's like you're trying to cross a river, but the stones and the pebbles that you're trying to jump across get progressively smaller, narrower, and further away. So with every jump, your risk just increases like crazy. So with a career that spans of 40 years, if you make that move, you've got to look for other things that's going to help widen the opportunity and not narrow it further. And I'd like to take
I
this opportunity to
mm,
address a comment, because there's a comment in our chat box about whether 5 jobs in 3 years is an indication of a candidate shopping around. It's probably right, and there are exceptions. And the commenter is also right, because if I'm interviewing the candidate, obviously I'm going to find out why and what happened. Now the issue here is this: if I have other better looking candidates on paper, I'm not even going to give you a chance. It means I've
yeah,
prejudged you just based on a narrative that you never got a chance to tell me about. It's a
yeah.
narrative that I've imposed just by looking at the sequence of roles that you've held in the last 5 years. So it's really unfair. But that's the way the world is. Like, if I have no other candidate, then yes, I will interview and I'll go and investigate further. But I sometimes don't have the luxury of time to interview every single candidate. And so if another candidate comes along with a 5 year here and a 6 years there, and wow, another like 2 years, I
Mm.
will interview that
It,
candidate instead
it's
of
a beauty
the three
pageant
years
after
in
all,
one.
right? So I want to choose.
Unfortunately, isn't it?
So it could hurt you, and that's why when we talk about issues like these, who's a job hopper, it's tricky because it's all about perception, and it's more prevalent now, if you ask me, because the temptation to move is just so great. In the past 2.5 years, there has been pent up desire to move. The salaries were compressed, job opportunities were compressed, were restricted, not so many things. So a lot of people just want to move right now. And even after they've landed a job, they realize that, hey, there's another company that's willing to pay a little bit more. Should I move? And it doesn't help. And it's a good thing, that the job market is pretty good right now. So how then do you resist the temptation to move? Because we have another situation of a client of ours who may help to land a job, and he landed one of his it's a fantastic job. Okay, he's been on the job for the past 4 months, but now another headhunter from his number one company, which he wanted to join, has called him up and go, "Do you really join now? This is the dream job, the dream location, the dream role, with the dream team."
Where were
And
you 6 months ago?
so then do I leave now? If I leave now, do I look like a job hopper? So we're seeing a very unique situation in the market now where there is a very strong demand and the temptation is there. Okay, it's like you're on a diet and suddenly, you go to a buffet place and you're like, whoa. It's like, I'm a bit hungry this morning. That's why I'm talking about that. And and why is it bad for you? Okay, why is job hopping bad for you? Job hopping is bad because it's a major red flag, isn't it? Yeah.
It's again, before anyone gets a chance to even speak with you to understand why, what happened, and whether or not those movements were, I guess, for a purpose and a reason that sounds normal, because we have a tendency to just go down the negative route. Oh, there's a break in my career. Oh, he must have gone to jail. That people assume, right? 3 jobs in 5, and so like that HR person that you were speaking with, gosh, this guy sounds like bad luck. Every company he joins folds. So people have their perceptions, and there's a tendency. It's very easy to just make a negative, I guess, connection, as opposed to, nah, I think we need to give this guy a chance. So yes, it's a battle that you can't fight. So if people are looking at your LinkedIn profile and they see, gosh, 1 year 7 months, 2 years 8 months, and then another job for 8 months, 6 months, and then another one for 15 months, and LinkedIn does that, right? LinkedIn,
Yeah,
every
it
role,
shows all.
it shows all. So it's like 8 years, 6 months, great, okay, good, right? But if it's 5 jobs and each job is 1 year 7 months, 8 months, and then the next job is 1 year 5 months, it can be a bit red flag. And so again, I would probably put you on the back burner.
Yeah.
And then go
You won't
look
be
for
the prime
something.
candidate unless you are
Correct.
related to the CEO or something. But we have a very interesting question popped up. Okay, I want to share. So LinkedIn user asked, is it good to state the reasons for leaving in the CV?
No.
Why?
My quick answer is no, because your resume's got no space for that.
Yeah, I agree.
And seriously, if we can see from company A to company B that there's a bigger title and a larger job scope, then we can make that own assumption. We can make that leap. Yes, you moved on because the role was bigger. It's kind of obvious this was a Singapore-based role and that role was APAC, for example. Then you don't need to waste an entire line going like, I left for better opportunity. I'm sorry, duh. It's a little bit, it's understood, right?
Yeah.
I think the only time when I want to indicate, again, like it depends. The only time when I allow someone or recommend that they indicate a reason for that transition is when there's a career break, either for study or for sabbatical. Other than that, there's no need to state a reason for leaving.
And I think it tends to make you come across as being defensive. So
yes,
I would just
that's true.
leave it alone. Our advice is don't put the reason for leaving. If you, it makes you look like hey, here's my reason. It's not my fault. Just put it there. And if they're keen, they'll ask you anyway. So don't put it in. I wouldn't recommend putting it in. Okay. Good question though.
Yeah.
And the other reason why it's bad, having a job hopping being perceived to be a job
Yes.
or not. That's one of the biggest red flags any headhunter, any hiring manager. It's like they don't want this person who's got a pattern to come in and act out that pattern again. In 6 months they leave or 1 year they leave. And then
It's unfair.
what you said, yeah, it takes a while for the business cycle to go through. And it's unfair.
It's very unfair for someone to say, to judge you based on past experiences, because those past experiences are not predictive of future behavior. But that's our fallacy. But it's our fallacy, isn't it? It's a fallacy of bias, right? Where I assume that because this has happened to you in the past, that the future will also be like that. there's a reason for that. It's unfair.
You
It's
don't,
unfair,
and you
and
don't
we
want to have that
cannot
reputation.
predict.
Yeah.
We cannot predict what will happen in the future. But
So that's why, okay, if you are faced, if you just join a company and you're faced with a better offer on your table now, okay, you really need to think long and hard because you don't want to have the reputation. So, you know what can you do to prevent it? Okay, the big question is always about context. If you do, if you've had like 15 years, 8 years, 6 years, and then you join a company for maybe 6 months, and then you want to look for something better, I think that's okay, because every one of us is entitled to one or maybe two of those, because you join and then the environment is not the right one for you, the role is not that great, you will not
yeah,
promise the right job or right resources. So
yeah,
those types we can close one eye.
yeah.
What do you think?
It's. I was just looking at the comments. Sorry, Adrian.
Good comments over here today.
And there's a lot of comments. And yes, I agree with you. And it's like you rightly pointed out, it's context, it's a narrative, it's a story. And you and I know, right? When we read people's LinkedIn, we can see the story.
Yeah.
And we're probably accurate in our deductions and our inferences
If
about
the
what's
headhunter is seasoned
happened.
enough like us, experienced
We
enough,
can
yeah,
tell.
we can tell the
It's
story.
like, okay. And sometimes you can even tell when the move was because you followed a certain leader. And you can also tell that we can tell. So it's really about the context. And it's all about the narrative. So stick to making sure that your career story is congruent. And that would be my final answer.
Final answer, yes, for 500
Final
points.
answer.
So if you have been job hopping or if you had a patchy career previously, please don't do it again unless there are really extenuating circumstances. Okay.
Yeah, it
Because
has to be
what you
so
want to do,
compelling. Then you
yeah.
need to know at the back of your mind that no matter what happens, you need to stay.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a boss who's traumatizing you, or if you're working in a chemical plant with no hazmat suits or whatever it is, then you don't stay because I don't want to be a job hopper. You're gonna end up dying, right? So if your safety
Yeah,
is
yeah,
involved, you want to quit, then that's a different story. That's valid and legitimate
yeah.
reason for leaving. But if someone offers you like $200 more in salary and you quit, then that's a bit of an issue. So if you've been job hopping,
Or you join because it's a trendy thing. Like your friends are all going, you go like, yeah, I'll do it too, and it's fun. It sounds right. Let's go together.
yeah,
That actually fits with bullet number 2.
yeah. So
And so
if you've been job hopping, you got to watch out, okay? But are you leaving for the right reasons?
yeah.
Are you leaving for an extra buck? Are you
Or
leaving?
are you leaving just cause it's trendy?
Yeah.
Or because the government said so? Oh no, please.
No, let's not go there again. Okay. Yeah, exactly. We know people who quit their perfectly good jobs because they say, hey, data analytics is going to be the next thing because I read in the newspapers. But in truth, it may not be the right role for you. Just because it's good for Peter doesn't mean it's going to be good for Paul. Okay. So
Yeah.
you have to be jump in wherever you want to move into with eyes wide open. And are you
Yeah.
leaving for the right reasons?
Rational, not emotional. That's really important because a number of our clients sometimes they've hit a limit within their current roles and they feel really, really upset or they're not happy and it's a trigger event. And then they get very emotional about it. The next best thing that comes along, they go, okay, fine, I'm quitting. Not realizing that they've just jumped into a very green pasture and everyone knows why the grass is green. The grass is very green because the fertilizer
Over on the other side, it's like
is
knee deep.
really
So
deep. It's so much deeper. So it looks really nice from the surface, but when
yeah.
you dig a little bit deeper, it's just the
So that's
worst
why
thing.
you
So yeah, emotional
talk to us.
decisions.
Talk to us, okay? If you have a situation like this, come talk to us because what you need is some career clarity, which is what at Career Agility we help our clients. And we don't promise our clients jobs. What we do promise, however, is clarity to make the right decisions. And it's really useful to have both Yen and myself as your private personal career strategist
Yeah, because we
to tell
disagree
you
all the
whether or
time.
not it's because it's dynamic and it's all about whether or not you need someone to calibrate your thinking, someone who is objective and outside of your game. Okay, so you have to be very wise in making that decision. Are you living for the right decisions, and are you living for the right role? Sometimes we had this situation before where Facebook or Google calls up calls a candidate, calls this person up, and say, wow, because the strength of the brand is so strong, that like a
Yeah.
salesperson, okay, Google calls him up for marketing role. They go, wow, no, it's Google. I can figure it out. They jump and they realize marketing's not for me, or a regional role is not for me because it's too big. Or no, maybe I shouldn't have volunteered for Mongolia as a to be the Mongolian country head. So what if it's Google, for instance? So it's you have to leave for the right role, isn't it?
The thing about organizations that are very attractive, and yes, you're right. Number one, the role. Number two, please highlight, pay attention to the sort of leader you're going to be reporting to, and that's really important too. The kind of boss you get, right? And I think for my money, the culture fit is really, really crucial. It's got to be aligned to yours. And if work-life balance is really what you want, then maybe Google's not for you. or if working in teams is, or in a structured environment is your style, then again, Google is not for you because they need independent thinkers. So, yeah, culture fit.
It's a culture fit, you see, and ultimately, it's something that you really need to be mindful of. Otherwise, it's going to come back to
Could
bite
be,
you.
yeah, fire
So,
from jumping from the frying pan into the fire. That's not going to be healthy. Yeah.
so the question is: so if you don't want to write your reason for leaving in your CV, okay, what then can you do? Well, our advice is come talk to us because it's very contextual and we are probably able to help you. But no, come talk to us. We don't have enough details and information, so come talk to us. We are always happy to help give you some ideas. But besides this, the whole idea is if you want to prevent yourself
Yeah.
from being a job hopper or to move around from roles to roles, do you have a career strategy? Are you doing? Is
Mhm.
there a plan? Oftentimes, individuals who skip around they skip around because they don't know exactly what they want. And like what someone
Yeah.
earlier said, they're trying, they're sampling. Okay, but you cannot sample with your career
You
like
can't
this.
sample forever because the
Yeah,
time does not wait for you to experiment. In fact, the time for experimenting is when you're in schools, and
that's true.
and
In
if
your
you
younger days, when you're in
you're
your
not,
twenties, maybe you can, right? In your
it's
twenties,
not like
fresh out of school.
you're not allowed to try things, but you have to have a certain common denominator that is retained within your career story. So I mean, imagine, right? I mean, if you again, recent story of someone I was speaking with, studied what did she study? Can't remember. Oh, well, studied hospitality, and then got a degree in business, which is really good. And first job was in HR, and 18 months later joined the bank.
Wow.
So if you look at that and you go, this person is confused. And if there was some common denominator, maybe there was a strong
Hmm.
if the next role was HR in a bank, that would make some sense. But if you join a
Yeah,
bank and
but
doing anti-money laundering or something, then
disjointed, right?
it's
Yeah,
confusing
yeah,
the person's reading your
yeah,
resume or looking at your LinkedIn, going like, what is this person thinking?
yeah.
And we've seen quite a few of these profiles where the jumps don't make sense. Like they're so it's so distinct, a service industry and then join a government
We've seen a lot. We've
ministry
seen a lot. Yeah,
and then moved into something very different. So there's no connectivity. There's no what we headhunters like to call a track record that we're looking. We're
yeah.
looking for a track record.
So there's no common thread running through it, okay? And I do not buy the concept or the reason or the excuse that I'm just sampling, because
Mm,
you can sample your job fantasies on your own dime, not when I as a company I'm paying for your salary. I'm not
yeah.
paying for you to sample, okay? I'm paying for you to deliver and fix a problem which I have. So I know we're sounding pretty cruel here, but if you
No,
have a
you're also
if you have
sounding very very ancient.
but that's the mindset of a lot of bosses out there, you see. So it's because a lot of bosses are very ancient. So, but I love it. I love our conversation here because we are being extremely authentic, honest, and true. And this is what the hiring manager, this is what the HR is gonna think about when they see your profile. Okay, and this is something which is truth, because over at Career Agility International, we give you the unvarnished truth and how to handle it. And that then is the next question: what can you do to fix it? Number one, if you already have a somewhat jumpy, patchy career history, number one, you got to rehabilitate your CV. Okay, you got to rehabilitate your career story. The next move you have to
Meaning
go
the
into,
next move,
let's
you
not
stay.
treat it as another sample. Okay, you got to
No.
stay. You got to stay.
Yeah.
And the
And I
question
like
then is,
to on this point, sorry
yeah,
to interject, but there
no,
was
no,
an
no, jump,
earlier
jump.
comment. There was an earlier
Yeah.
comment about how is it that if people know that you've just changed the job, but the recruiter still calls you to asks if you would like to move. Why would people still want to reach out to you if you've only just settled? The question is not why people will reach out to you, but what you should do when people reach out to you. So yes, you have just joined, okay? But listen, guys, listen. There is nothing stopping you from having a conversation with another recruiter because it's good to know what's happening in your market. So you entertain the
Yeah.
conversation, but know that it's not as if the recruiter calls and you go, oh yeah, I wanna go, I want to explore. No, you can have a chat. You don't have to put your hat in the ring. But
Yeah.
you want to know, right? You want to know what's going on because it gives you a chance to figure out if that could be something viable, maybe in the next, 2 to 3 years time. It's okay.
And
So
we're not
yes,
saying no, don't go. For all you know, it might be
yeah,
your
it might just
destiny
be the
to
yeah.
to join that company. Seriously. But and I'm not asking you to be dogmatic or
Yeah,
stubborn
yeah,
about
or
no.
rigid.
It's
Yeah,
all
no, yeah,
there are so many variables in the mix, and that's why sometimes when you're in such a situation, it becomes very emotional, and it's a happy problem to have in a way, okay, but it's still a problem nonetheless. So you
yes,
will have to start thinking about, how do I approach it? What are the things that I should consider? What is it for the right role? Is it for the right company? Is it in line with my career strategy? And a lot of times it's difficult without
mm,
someone like us to come in to give you advice. So
yeah,
come drop us an email if you're in such a difficult and challenging situation where you have so many companies courting you right now. Okay, tough.
the happy problem.
Yeah, my condolences. You're such a hot piece of property right now. Okay, but
Someone,
you know,
someone just com- someone just commented that candidates will jump for money. They will jump for an industry when an employer can pay. Yes and no. And I think for the people that we've met, and there are distinct generational gaps, perhaps.
Mhm,
But yes, if
mhm.
you're a lot younger, then yes, money is a main motivating factor. But when you're a little bit older, usually it's not about money. I can guarantee that. So it's people jump for all sorts of reasons. Most of the time, if it's a jump, it's because the two things, right? There's a push factor. Either they can't take the kitchen's too hot, they want to exit the kitchen, or there's something really attractive, and they didn't, they wanted to move on
In
into
the other
something.
kitchen. Yeah, in the
Yeah,
other
in the
kitchen,
other
cooking
kitchen.
fancier
Go to,
stuff that you want to cook.
yeah.
So it's
So
very
yeah,
subjective.
many reasons. Yes.
There are so many reasons, but the whole point of it is this: if you have to, okay, you have to be smart about it. Then if you want to, if you already have a patchy career history and you want to rehabilitate it, but this is the job you really don't want, or that's the job you really want, you have to be
Mm,
very smart about it, and it's very
yes.
contextual. And if you are in such a
Yeah.
situation, you need to know what your what your underlying motivations is. Okay, what your factors
Yeah.
are. Are you skipping
Correct.
job hopping because you haven't found your place yet? You haven't found your calling, you haven't found your center, or is it you just don't want to be in this industry? Okay, but you're there
Yeah.
just because of the money, or maybe there's so many reasons. Come talk to us, and a lot you'll be surprised sometimes you to find the underlying reasons aren't originally what you thought they were.
Yeah, yeah. And when you say be smart, really, it's just do more research, and figure out whether or not this is aligned, and more importantly, play the long game. Because when we make emotional decisions, we're kind of myopic about it. You don't want to just you've got to see what happens 2, 3 steps all the way, and be smart about it. That's why we put the word be smart, not
Be
emotional.
smart.
Be smart. Don't be emotional.
Be smart. Maxwell Smart. So yeah, be smart. Okay. And I think, yes, I know Maxwell Smart is like goodness. Okay. Adrian's age, showing his age again.
Yes,
Uh,
he
with,
is.
Would you believe? Okay, anyway. So in summary, okay, have a strategy.
Mm.
If you have several offers on hand, great. Have a strategy. Is this in line with what you want?
Yeah.
Is this what I want? Wow, they're paying me twice as much. I would love it, but what if they're making you do 5 times the work? Or if they're going to send you off to Mongolia. Why am I talking about Mongolia so much this
Yeah.
morning? Okay, it's if they're going to send you off to a third world country which you don't want to be there,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
it's
Or
going to
if
take
you
you
have to
further away.
travel, or if you travel like crazy, I mean, they give you so much more money
Yeah.
because the job is that much tougher. May
Mm.
not be aligned to what you really want. So that could be difficult.
So have a strategy, have a career
Yeah.
strategy, and what better than to come to us, the experts, who literally wrote the book on career strategy, okay, career crossroads. Okay, so come talk to us because we are really good at what we do. And how much is your career worth to you? It's worth millions of
Mm.
dollars if you think about it. Okay, so come talk to us because we are the experts, and learn how to fix it. If you learn how to fix it, it's not just about going to YouTube because your situation is so unique to yourself.
Yes.
And it's not just enough
And
to listen to
it's not
gurus
enough because
on
when
the
you go onto the interweb, the interweb has got a lot of wisdom, and it's very generic wisdom.
yeah.
And as you hear all the nagging, it's like, no, you should stay. And then the question, and one of our comments was, how long can you stay before you can leave? I get that a lot from young people. So how long can I stay in my first job before I quit? Because they're looking at getting more money. I can't answer that question. And like Adrian's favorite answer, how long is a piece of string?
Yeah. We're Mary. Hi Mary, good morning. So it's like, how long should we stay in a job in order not to be considered a job hopper? Once again, it's very contextual, right? You
It is
you would have
entirely contextual. Mary
yeah.
is definitely not a job hopper.
Oh no, Mary, you're not a job, but you're definitely not. In fact, you're very
Loyal,
loyal,
very loyal.
very
Yeah.
loyal, and your loyalty has paid off. So that's amazing. Okay, but the point also is this: it's very contextual, and if you don't, once again, though, if you're in danger, your boss is making your life miserable,
Mm,
you're losing sleep,
mm,
you're losing
yeah.
weight, then maybe it is time to move. Even if you had a patchy history, don't kill
Yeah.
yourself on the job. There's a lot more
Agree.
important things in life than that. Okay, so
Yes.
don't just say, "Oh, Adrian and Yan said that we cannot be job hoppers, so I'm gonna continue working in this
To suffer.
industrial waste dump."
No.
Okay, without any protective gear, and even though I noticed I got 3 fingers growing up from my other hand, I'm still going to carry on in this radioactive place. Okay, no, don't. Okay, there are a lot of important things in life other than your job,
Yeah.
but don't be emotional about it. Learn how to fix it, and of course, realize that even if you've had a patchy history before, your future starts today because
As
what you make
cliche
of
as it sounds.
yes,
As cliche
your
as it
future starts.
sounds, it's true. Your future starts today.
Okay,
So
so don't be
wait.
too don't be too fixated over what's happened in the past. Okay, it can be fixed. It can be explained away. It may not be easy to do that, but it can be resolved. So don't feel too down,
Yes.
too depressed. You'll be okay. As long as you keep looking forward and you keep thinking about the right things and develop a career strategy.
Yeah.
So come talk to us if you have any questions. Okay, this is something which we always say. Don't if you don't have to go out on your own, don't. But a lot of times, it's this is a unique point in time in Singapore's history, I would say. Okay, like especially after 2.5 years of pandemic, we're finally seeing the markets open up, and we're finally seeing opportunities coming in, and we're seeing individuals who are faced with very interesting roles. Our advice to you is make sure you know what you want, make sure you know what you're getting into, and measure everything out. There's some degree of emotional decision making. Okay, factor your career move on the rational, not just on the emotional.
Agree. Entirely agree. There's a comment about culture and job fit and whether I mean you wouldn't want to join again based on the comment you wouldn't want to join somewhere and then leave again in 3 months. But then again, does that mean you have to suffer in inverted commas for a period just so that you do not look like a job hopper? Again, it's very contextual. If
Mm,
you
mm,
have joined a company and you realize, holy crap, and it's only been 3 months, maybe it's time to cut your losses if there's something better, right?
Yeah.
Because why would you want, if it's only been 3 months and you're already feeling the heat of the
Yeah.
burning, you don't have to suffer. Again, it depends, right? So
In fact,
can't have
I want to be a bit, controversial
contentious.
here.
You're always,
Contentious. I'm always
always.
contentious and controversial. Okay,
I'm just going to roll my eyes a little bit, everyone.
roll your eyes. Okay. In fact, if you jump into a company, okay, regardless of what happened in the past, okay, if you jump into a company and you on day one you go in there and you go, oh
Holy cow.
no, okay, this
Yeah,
is not the one I want.
get
Oh
up.
boy, what you mean? There's no caviar in the fridge? No, I'm just kidding. It's like you go in and you go like, oh, this is really a bad decision.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, from
if you
day
have to quit,
one.
quit fast. Okay, don't hang around
Yeah,
until
it's very similar to your concept of failing fast, isn't it?
yeah,
So
it is.
if the environment is really bad, and then
And
you
you
have to
know
measure
it.
the opportunity cost, right? Is it
Yeah,
better to have a career break? Yes, because it's so bad. Then but you have to speak with. I mean, I guess come talk to us
yeah.
about it
Once
because
again, it's
we'll
contextual.
give you an objective point of view. Because if you were
It's
to
context.
speak to someone who maybe had your best interests at heart and they didn't know how bad it could be because they really have never really seen that sort of environment, or they never heard of it, or they just but we get some very well-meaning older people who like to tell us, nothing lah, you young snowflakes and blah blah blah. It's yeah, come talk to objective people, okay?
Come talk to us. and we're not saying that on day one or day five you go like, wow, this is a terrible place, or this is a tough market, I want to leave now. Okay, don't quit. So there's so many variables involved. Okay, but there are signs which you need to read. Okay, and sometimes if you need to move, then make a move. Don't feel imprisoned. Don't feel
Yeah,
obligated.
hostaged.
But there's so many variables involved. So
Yeah,
just be
yeah.
mindful about it. And
We've helped quite a few of our clients with their mental shields. You go into the office, an environment that's not really good, but we help them with their psychological protection and body armor, so that when they go in, right, they have the strength to hang in there a little bit
the
longer.
strength to carry on,
In,
the strength
in
to
fact,
fight a good
turn
fight.
in fact, to turn things around, sometimes it just
Mm.
requires
Yeah,
some strategies, and
yeah,
then they turn things around and they outlast the toxicity,
yeah.
and then we've had a
And
lot
then
of
they
that
ride
those
off, and then
stories
they
as
ride off
well.
into the sunset. And then they're like the hero
Oh,
of
I
the day.
agree. Someone just put a comment. Don't trust everything your recruiters say. I agree, because the recruiter's job is to sell you the role. So they're going to obviously tell you everything. Now, how many of us here have interviewed for jobs, and then when we started, hang on, this was not what we agreed during the interview, but by then you joined and it's too late.
Yeah, I know. So you never know.
No, I agree. I agree.
So be
Yes. Don't
wise, okay? Be wise, be smart about it. No, thanks,
you
Deb, for
come
the
talk to
comment.
us.
Always love your feedback, Deb. Okay, and come talk to us. But it's all about being happy at work. It's all about having career success, and it's all about having a career strategy. So
Strategies.
it's
Sustainable
all about
strategies.
strategies. Yeah. So come talk to us. And on that note, we are running out of time, but we want
Yeah.
to invite you again to our other programs that we might have. On Thursday mornings, I'm on 1FM 91.3 radio at Happy at Work at 8 in the morning, and I'm on national radio and on the Facebook page as well. There's a whole recording of
Yes,
the
yeah.
of the
I'm
video.
very proud of your celebrity status, Adrian.
Hey, yeah, and also and flex. I was on the news 2 nights ago. So what a showboat Adrian is. But it's been fun, and drop us a
Yeah,
note if you have any
I
career
think you're making
questions.
a difference.
Yeah, I know
I think you're
it's really
making a
fun.
difference. It's good. It's good to share our
Yeah,
message.
yeah, it is, and there's so many lives that we are changing and we are
Mm.
affecting and we are making better. So together, you and me, the dream team at Career Agility, we want to wish you a great weekend ahead, and we want to tell you, build your career strategy, make the right choices, and if you need any help, just reach out to us. Info@careeragility.org. Have a great weekend ahead, guys. Take care.